Come back to prepare the September.
Football is back at the Etihad in front of the fans. Somehow it's gone in off Jack Grealish.
On his home debut, I'd love to see it.
Turned in by Laporte.
All the team plays so good, that's the most important.
And Jesus has himself another assist.
Was it 3 assists and the man of the match? Excellent from him.
It is City 5, Norwich 0.
Try to smell where the ball will drop.
Wonderful header from Ilkay Gundogan. Ferran Torres.
He's got that instinct when he gets a chance. Use the ball.
Grealish down to the byline, and Jesus fires it into the back of the Arsenal net.
Play like this against any team in the Premier League, they're going to win most games.
A second successive 5-0.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Matchday Live. Manchester City are at the King Power Stadium to take on Leicester City. The memory of the Community Shield defeat is still fresh, losing 1-0 to the late Kelechi goal. But we've enjoyed back-to-back 5-0 victories in our previous 2 Premier League games. Now, a few stats for you. In 20 Premier League meetings between the two sides, it's the away team who have enjoyed the most wins. 55% of those games have finished in favour of the away team. So Pep Guardiola and team will be hoping to increase that percentage this afternoon. And we have 2 special guests in the studio joining me today to take you through the afternoon. And then, of course, we're always here at half-time and full-time too. So I'm Natalie Pike and I am joined by David James and Nedum Onuoha. Now, we're going to go straight into the team news and then I'll get the opinions of the gents. So your starting 11 for City today. And in incredible news, I do not have a stat for the last time that City did make no changes for 3 games in a row. So your starting 11 is Ederson is here. He's in goal. And then we have Walker, Laporte, Diaz and Cancelo, Gundogan, Rodri, Silva, that man of the moment, Ferran Torres, Jack Grealish, and Gabriel Jesus. Now, we'll also just give you the substitutes really quickly as well, and you'll see there that we do have Scott Carson is on the bench, and then it's John Stones, Ake, Zinchenko, Fernandinho, De Bruyne, he's back, Riyad Mahrez, Sterling, and again, Phil Foden, he's back too. So it looks like we have a fully fit squad to choose from. Everybody is fit and everybody is back, and you can see there is Ederson and Scott Carson going onto the pitch there for their warm-up. It was touch and go with Ederson, wasn't it? But he's here, and so is Gabriel Jesus. Now I'm going to start the show today giving you all an incredible Gabriel Jesus stat. Gents, you can scorn me if you want for saying this, but I love this Gabriel, and do you know what, Nedum? I'm not even going to look at you because you don't like my stats after the last show we were on together. But City are unbeaten in all 43 Premier League games that Gabriel Jesus has scored in. That's a decent one, right?
That's a very, very good one. There was once a City player who I was with in Darius Vassell, and while he was at City throughout his career, he didn't score a ton of goals, but every time he scored, he never lost a game. And that was key then, because at one point he'd just scored in the first half at Old Trafford, and I was sitting across from him, and I was looking at him. He was looking at me. I think Stephen Allen was looking at him as well, and we kind of thought, this is the acid test, isn't it? And it turned out we won the game. So yeah, I love those stats. I love those ones.
Yes, those ones. And we are going to have a nice derby chat later as well, because both these gents paid in a memorable derby win. But before we do that, let's have a quick chat about the team news. David, unchanged. Can you believe it?
Big surprise, yes, Natalie. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, well, it's a good thing. I mean, 2 5-0 wins. You would imagine normal managers would say, "Oh, I'm sticking with a successful side." But I think with Pep, what he's got is, again, we keep saying it's such a good squad that it would appear that the side have shown enough in the short period of time they've had from training and international that they're good enough to go out and win a third.
Yeah, and like you say, obviously those two back-to-back 5-0 wins, it feels like there's no need for changing. But when you've got such an incredible bench, when you've got, Sterling having incredible matches for England, Mahrez has just been phenomenal as well. Obviously then we're so pleased to say KDB and Foden. I mean, our bench. I like to say our bench would finish in the top 4, I reckon, Nedum. But given how well the bench is, how well those players have played, to still have that core team, he's really got faith in that 11.
Yeah, he has. But one thing I'll say is, like, this is the right thing for him in this particular moment. I wouldn't necessarily expect it to carry on going throughout the season, because there are people on the bench as well who maybe he wants to give more game time to. He's trying to still feed them back in, because for some of these guys, they started playing again for this season a month ago, maybe 5 weeks. So they're still on that road. But, as far as Pep picking the same team for 3 weeks in a row, it's rare, but what a team it is anyway. But then look at what he's going to be adding to that as well. So as far as City goes, it's exciting, isn't it?
Oh, really exciting. Now, if we're having a little look at the team, first mention there to Ferran Torres. Obviously, he scored in the international duty, 2 goals in international duty. A stat for you again, Nedum. He's netted 7 goals in his last 8 Premier League starts. What a start to the season. He's on fire.
He's on fire, yeah. He's doing really, really well. I think last season was a tough year for so many people for so many different reasons, and we probably didn't get to see the best of him. But Pep and the players around, they know him, they keep the faith in him, and he's playing that role now, and he's doing exceptionally well, and it's breaking a lot of people's minds, because they're thinking, no, he's not this, he's not that, but he's scoring goals. He keeps scoring goals, so hopefully at some point that will speak for itself. But he's doing great work for the team, and for now, like as I say, just keep it rolling, because I'm loving it as well.
Yeah, loving it. And David, the question of the moment, is he a winger? Is he a striker? Is he the answer to all our striker problems that some people thought we had, but we didn't really?
Well, I just echo what Nedum said. I mean, one of my frustrations with it, I love him. And I've watched games of him so many times, and what he's been doing for Spain, especially last season, it was like, please do this for Man City. But this season now he's starting to do that. And I think with the success of last season, being able to sort of be in the times we watched him on the field, and you're like, he just doesn't look right. He actually believes he should be here. So in answer to the question, is he the answer as a striker, or is he still a winger? I think he's so versatile, so young, that Pep can use him where he needs. And at the moment, if it's in front of goal, scoring goals, that's what us and all City fans want.
Versatile, that is like such a key word in our squad. Like,
absolutely, yeah.
So many of them are. Like, same for Gabriel Jesus. Like, he's a winger now, isn't he?
I mean, I think again, the transfer window closing just recently, all the focus was on Man City needing a number 9. And then Fran's like, excuse me, I can still score goals. And Jesus is like, I can do it too. And it's like basically a follow-on from last season.
Now, just a quick score update for anybody and for the gents in the studio as well. Crystal Palace are playing Spurs at the minute. It's still going on. I think it was between the 70-something minute. Do you want to guess the score right now?
Because of the red card, I'm going to say 2-0 to Palace.
I'm going to say 1-0 Tottenham.
It's 2-0 to Palace right now. Oh. Where did you get that from, by the way? What's your score prediction for today for our game? Quick.
No, I could just read. I thought, why are they giving us this news now? Something good must be happening. But yeah, let's not worry about that.
Yeah.
Let's not worry about that.
We'll give you a full-time update at the end of that, and we'll have a look at the league table as well. But mentioning Gabriel Jesus, obviously him and Edison, we weren't sure really until late last night. In fact, I didn't see the news until I woke up this morning that they were going to be able to play. I feel like for Gabriel Jesus specifically, that's really important because of the form, because of how good he started this season, because he's always being talked about as being a confidence player. So how pleased do you think he is that he can play?
Do you know what I would say? Arguably, most players are confidence players. Some players are really good, but then once they have exceptional confidence, they become that little bit better. And I think with Gabriel, the fact that he's playing well, he's got a set place in the team, he's getting the assists, he's getting the goals, the team's winning. Like, imagine being a forward player for a team that's scoring 5 every week at the moment. Like, it must be incredible. So you wouldn't want to break that run through something which is maybe out of your hands. So to get the green light in terms of being able to play today, it's a big boost for him. And it's a good test as well, because Leicester City are a good side. And away from home, that crowd is rocking. I've played there and felt that sort of environment. It's tough. But for these guys, they love it. The more big games you can play, and the better you'll be. You play well in those games, you go into the next one feeling even better.
And he loves playing against them. He scored 5 times against them. 5 goals. We're seeing his goals against Leicester now. Do you know what? I don't care. It's a penalty. It's fine. They all count, David, don't they? They all count. So So that's fine with me.
There's no issue with people scoring penalties whatsoever. I'll tell you that now, because the feeling you have when they don't score one, it does matter. It really, really does matter.
It's still raw from the summer, so yeah, anyone who can score is good.
We're going to have a good chat about penalties later, because obviously the man that's sitting to my side here has an incredible penalty record that we'll chat about a little
You
bit
beat me.
later.
I never missed one. Yeah, I also never took one, but that's neither here nor there.
You never missed one.
Oh, well, there you go. Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Yeah, and we'll have a good chat about Edison as well.
But you're right. I mean, he likes scoring against Leicester.
He does. He does. And yeah, so do you like my 43 game stat, David? So he scores, we win.
Well, let's hope he scores earlier.
Yeah, he scores early. It's all good, guys. Nothing to worry about.
A quick mention on Edison there as well, because obviously saying about the we didn't know until late last night, we didn't know until this morning who would be playing. We knew as well that Zach Stefan is isolating just now after having a positive COVID test while on international duty. We can see him there with Scott Carson all week. We thought that Scott Carson was going to be playing, and then this morning we find out the news that Edison's back. How important do you think that was? How are you feeling in the build-up this week, thinking that he might not be playing?
Very important. I mean, he's one of my favourite goalkeepers, as everyone knows, and more importantly, because of the international duty, Pep hasn't had the time to make the adjustments had Scott Carson needed to play. I know Scott's already played in cup games, but point being is that he needs his team just to flow back into what was, the two previous 5-0s. Edison's in the back of the defence there. Start of the attack, depending on how you want to look at it, but it's kind of that continuity. So for him to be back in, he'll just do well again.
Now, you're a big fan of him, and he's also a big fan of you. I don't know if you've seen this video that City put out a few weeks ago of Edison watching your time up front. So
I haven't seen this. I've seen this. I've seen the video. Yeah.
So here is Edison's reaction.
That's good, he smiled.
Eu lembro desse jogo aqui. A zica, entrou atacante, né?
I love it.
Se dá o carrinho e fazer gol. Pênalti. Ele podia bater o pênalti,
He said you should have taken it. You should have taken the penalty.
Yeah, we would have been Europe.
Ele foi dar.
I feel like he's not taking you seriously.
Ele derrubou uns dois ali. Foi dar um vôlei aqui, deu quase uma tesoura. Então, ele falou numa entrevista que você com certeza faria melhor que ele. Eu acho que sim, hein?
He's saying he'd do better
Mas
than
também
you.
não entrar de atacante. Se eu fosse entrar assim, eu não ia pedir pra entrar de atacante.
Por quê?
Não, eu prefiro entrar de meia ali, no lugar do Kevin.
Mas era o último minuto ali, ó.
Isso não, último minuto sim. Mas se fosse pra escolher assim, pra entrar no jogo e falar, quer entrar na linha um pouco, tira o De Bruyne e coloca eu. Não vai mudar em nada o time.
Brilliant.
I would touch for a ring, really.
Nate, why are you laughing?
Yeah, so we're going to get David James's reaction to Edison's reaction to David James. What did you make of that?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm glad he was only laughing. I've been fortunate enough to interview Edison, and one of my favourite keepers before the interview. But after the interview, I mean, he seems like such a good guy. But I said to him as well, he'd probably do better. And I was waiting for him to go up front. I mean, I think there was a moment at the end of last season where people were saying, go on, take the penalty or go up and do something. I mean, he's a wonderful keeper, wonderful player, and he didn't laugh in a bad way.
No.
No, it's just like there's a goalkeeper playing up front in an outfield shirt. Like you can't really look at it and like feel like you're in a very serious moment, because you've not seen that before. You know what I mean? But it's mind blowing though. That was such a big game for us.
Nedum, that was a moment of history there.
Yes.
The only #1 outfield shirt in Premier League history.
Also,
Is it?
I remember
in Man City Museum.
I remember as well towards the end we had a corner and I looked over to Stuart Pearson said, "Can I go forward?" He said no. So I stand on the halfway line. I was there, and then Nicky Weaver was 10 yards in front of me. So I had two goalkeepers ahead of me in a game, and I thought, well, I guess that means he has zero confidence in me scoring anyway.
You're a little bit quicker than me, and probably a lot quicker than Nicky Weaver.
Like, two goalkeepers were standing closer to the goal than I was when we needed something. So I was like, all right, fair enough.
Oh, I'm heartbroken for you.
I did all right from there. It's fine.
Right, let's have a look at the Leicester team now for you as well. So here it is. The starting 11 for Leicester today. In goal is Schmeichel. And then it's Castagna, Vestergaard, Soyuncu, Bertrand, Albrighton, Ndidi, Tielemans, Barnes, Maddison, and Jamie Vardy. Now, I say Jamie Vardy with that trepidation. I've got another stat for you. Nedum. I'm sorry about this. Jamie Vardy is the leading goal scorer in all competitions versus teams managed by Pep.
Well, something had to be, you know what I mean? Let's not read too deeply into that one. Sometimes you just say stuff that doesn't really matter, does it? It's irrelevant.
Yeah. Sometimes, yeah.
Yes,
it doesn't matter. We're not worried about it.
Insignificant, yeah.
We're not worried about everybody. We're not worried about it. I'll ask the gents what they think of that Leicester team in a second, but before I do, we're going to hear the thoughts of Pep Guardiola.
Pep, Ederson and Jesus play. Can you tell us how this issue was resolved, when you heard about it, and whether it's affected your preparations for this game?
This morning, they told me that they could play.
And has it affected your preparations?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
You name an unchanged team for the third match on the trot, which is not always the way you do things. Why have you done it this way round?
But pre-season, long weeks, they did it really well the last two games, and everyone came back in similar conditions for the fact the games played for the national teams. And yeah, we decided to adjust the fourth fixture. So everyone is going to play a lot of minutes.
De Bruyne and Foden on the bench. Can you tell us where they are in terms of their recovery from injury?
Well, we have 18 players in the first team, and everyone is available right now. And I think Kevin is a little bit better in terms of physical condition than Phil. Phil just make one training session, but it's good to be together again and start to inside to the dynamic of the group.
Thanks for your time.
You're very welcome.
That was the thoughts of our manager, Pep Guardiola. And we're seeing some of the players there warming up at the King Power Stadium. There's Jack Grealish. What a start to the season for him as well. So some shots there of all the players warming up. And as Pep said, 18 players to pick from. That is not many times that we've said that over the last few years. And the same team starts there for the 3 games in a row. Now, I'm just going to get the gents' take on the Leicester team there. David, what do you make of the team? A few changes there in defence you were noting.
Yeah, 3 changes in the back from the last match against Norwich, according to my calculations. Well, of course, I mean, Vestergaard coming in was a big move, wasn't it? So they're hoping, from a Leicester point of view, that he can deliver. My question mark over him was that he wasn't particularly great for Southampton, and therefore they've seen something which maybe I didn't, but I'm not Brendan Rodgers. But I think this is a great opportunity for Pep, and what I love, and the viewers who have heard me talk about Pep's pre-match talk before, where his focus is, and his focus was firmly on Manchester City and winning the game rather than anything else in the stadium. And I'm confident that with an unchanged side against a defence which would have been exposed to the same sort of things as like at Manchester City, i.e. a lack of training preparation going into this game, it's got to be a good thing for Jesus to score his goal. His early goal.
The early goal that gets us the win. And yes, you're right, 3 changes there in defence. It's perhaps not the defence, though, that we focus on with Leicester. It is that incredible attack that they have. What do you make of, well, there, we can see that man now.
Yeah, he tends to do well against City. But to be honest, I feel like the way he does well was better suited to older style City. I think overall now, you tend not to see them get hit on the break too much and stuff like that. They're not going to leave him with tons of open space, you like to think, because they understand what his strengths are. But, you know, you never know the way a game's going to go. But he's done very, very well for Leicester. I think he's been exceptional in the Premier League. He's in the 100-goal club now. I remember from playing against him in the Championship, which wasn't that long ago, I didn't think that he'd be the player that he is today. But credit to him for achieving that. And then when you look at the rest of that Leicester City side with Maddison, he's exciting. Harvey Barnes, one of the most exciting English talents as well. Albrighton on that side. Tielemans, who can shoot as long as he can see the goal. You know what I mean? Like, they're a good side. There's a reason why they end up in the top sort of like 6 in the Premier League every single season. It feels like so. You have to be at your best, especially in that stadium, because that crowd really do get rocking. But it's Man City, so ultimately they always end up being favourites anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we do have a full-time score for you. Do you want to have a guess? Full-time score at Palace Spurs? Oh, you know, okay.
This is the benefit of not having an earpiece, Gemma.
Have you got it? Yeah.
Have you got an earpiece in? Is that
No,
what you
I don't know, but I said it to you 2 minutes ago, but I guess you didn't hear me. What score was it, Gemma? What do you reckon?
I reckon it was 3-2 Tottenham.
Well, you've got an earpiece as well.
No. 3-0.
It has finished 3-0. So, former City man Patrick Vieira has got the best of Spurs there. Palace have finished 3-0. And Edouard's got 2 of those, the new boy there for Palace. The guy that came from Celtic as well, making his mark in the Premier League. Right, we're going to move on now and we're going to play a new game. Now, Nedum, you've been on this season and must have thought you were getting away with not playing a game.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Well, we've got a new one. Now, we figure we've got 2 of the most intelligent men in football in the room with us today. So we're going to test them. We're going to test them with our new game. It's called Cryptic City. Now, gents, this is a tester one. This is just to kind of get your brains into the idea. So, that is some pictures. You need to say what you see, and you're trying to get the name of a City player. So, Nedum, we're just testing it. So, tell us, what can you see? It could be a City player that is current or a City player that is past.
Oh, yeah. That's Kel Spellman. So, yeah, it's Kel Itchy. Yeah.
Yeah, and what have you got then?
It's Jack Grealish, but we've seen naturals in the end. Yeah, so Kelechi and natural, yeah, love that, Dave. That's great effort.
Nice one, David. So yeah, you've got our presenter Kel Spellman, so Kel, you've got someone itching, so you've got Kel Itchy, and then you've got a picture of Jack Grealish with his fingers in ears. And then you've got nachos.
Yeah.
Kelichi Inia Nacho.
Okay. Are we doing another one then? Have we just ruined that one?
We just won.
No, that was it. That was a tester for everybody.
Okay.
The next one, I'm going to ask you not to say it out loud because we're going to ask all our lovely viewers to tweet in, to message us with what they think it is. But this is the Cryptic City clue for today. Now, which City player, past or present, is this? Tweet your guesses to us. Use hashtag #ManCity. So, gents, have a little think. Don't say it out loud. It is sort of say what you see, but don't say it.
Okay.
Just think it.
Yeah.
So that is our Cryptic City. So if you're at home now and you're having a look at that, we'd like you to tweet us with your guess, hashtag #ManCity. I really like this game. It's so much fun.
This is good.
Do you think you've got it?
Yeah. We're not playing that one where you've got the covered up player.
No.
That was so difficult.
This one's sorted. Yeah.
Yeah. You know this?
100%.
You know this one, David?
I'm just a little bit confused by one of the images.
Yeah, okay. Same, yeah.
Okay.
Same.
If you're not into...
It's going to be tricky for the fans watching because...
And it's about you guys, it's not about us.
Yeah.
It's not about us.
So the last picture there was a gentleman that does fashion makeovers, and I knew his name straight away, but if you're not really into sort of fashion makeovers, you might not instantly know
can you pass my phone just
who he is.
Hashtag Man City.
So so that is our Cryptic City. We're going to be playing that all season. I love that game. Do tweet us in, use the hashtag ManCity. Right, we're going to move on now and have a chat about a man that both of these gentlemen played under. David, most recently at Soccer Aid. And we're going to have a little bit of a chat now about Sven-Göran Eriksson, the man that managed us for that one elusive, magical season. This is him when he first walked out into our beautiful stadium as manager. And as you'll all know, managed us for one season. Nedum played in that season, and David played under him when he played for England. So we had the chance at Soccer Aid to have a good old chat with Sven, and you're going to get to hear that, but we're going to give you a little clip of it now. So here's what Sven had to say.
Yeah, we were very lucky to find those kind of players, and I think there were 6 or 7 altogether. And even more lucky that they fitted in to the team, and very quickly we made a team of it, and they were great players who came in. And I know that most of them, they were not known in England at all. But you know, Hasse Backe, if you remember him, he had worked a long time in television. So he traveled a lot to see Champions League, European League and so on around Europe. So he was very important in finding the right players. And we did it, and I think at least half of the season we played brilliant football. And we got a position at Christmas time, I think, which was better than we were. But it was a great year. Very good.
So that full interview with Sven will be available soon as a podcast on the official Man City app. So if you don't already subscribe, get on it. There's so much incredible content on there. Now, as mentioned, both these gentlemen played with Sven, but we're going to have a chat with Nedum first because, of course, Nedum played in his full season here with Sven. What's your instant memories when you think of that season that Sven managed us?
You could basically split it into, the first half of it was incredible. But then the way it finished was terrible. But then he also brought us Alano, and there was a real sense of hope in the stadium, considering just before the year before that, it was a bit gloomy. We weren't scoring a ton of goals. Then you were bringing in, I think it was Valery Bozhinov. We had Martin Petrov. We had Alano coming in. There was this sense of hope and optimism. And for the first few games of the season, I think Sven did some research recently. Sven was manager of the month. Opening month of the Premier League season. You don't really associate that with a Man City manager or a Man City in general. So it felt like something was happening. Then we went to Chelsea, we lost quite badly, but it was positive. Things were looking good, and I just thought to myself, this is a former England manager that's now in charge of Man City, who has an eye for football. And for me, he was good to play for because he was always very much pro player. He wasn't necessarily going to be just breaking your back all the time over things that don't really matter, and he wanted to see good football. So he had good players in play, and he wanted the best for you. He'd be trying to encourage you as opposed to essentially just slamming you down all the time. But it was. I think it was an important era for City because in terms of ownership, it wasn't necessarily the best time. But in that year, even though it didn't end well, there were some points in that which really sort of got the ball in motion in terms of what was to come. And he ends up being the last manager to be in charge of City before this current ownership group came in.
Yeah, as a fan, when I think of that, I kind of smile and I think of the season. I was a hardcore fan that year. I was going home and away to every game, so I have a really good memory of that year. Also, a good memory of the fact that we won both the derby games.
Do you know
that
what?
year.
That, as you said that just hit me that we just did a double over Man United that year. That's insane.
Of course, that was back when that was the highlight of our season. It's now
but
the highlight
insane,
of their season when they do that.
I did the double. I can't think of many teams in my sort of career where I did the double, but I did the double over Man United. Wow, that's nice. That's very nice.
And you're right, there were so many players, so many incredible players. When I look down the list of the players that he signed, and so many of them, like he said, perhaps weren't well known in this country, but they certainly were after. I mean, Martin Petrov and Alano are two of my favourite City players.
Alano was special.
Of all time.
Alano was special, yeah. He was very, very special. When he came in, something changed, but then he was also working alongside Michael Johnson, who was incredible that season. That was his best year. And I'm pretty sure I think Daniel Sturridge might have still been there at that sort of time as well. So there was this sort of young talent that was being met with this Brazilian type flair, which we didn't really have before. We had good players before, but this was the energy was different. And there was hope there. And as I say, it didn't finish the way we would have wanted it to. But for a spell, it was a joy to be managed by him.
I mean, it really didn't finish. We got beat by 8-1 by Middlesbrough, so it really didn't finish.
If you don't mention it, maybe it never happened.
Yes, I was there. Don't worry, we're not showing that. We haven't got time to show the clip of all
we don't have time
those
for all the goals.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
Those homegrown players that you talk about. So Kasper Schmeichel was in the team. Yourself, Stephen Ireland, somebody called Micah Richards was in the team. He's on sometimes laughing.
Every now and again when you turn it on.
Every time you turn your TV on. And of course, as you say, Michael Johnson. Now, perfect opportunity for us to mention the fact that you have a podcast and you did an interview with him this week.
That's right, yeah. That's right. Michael Johnson, in some ways, is the sort of hope that was around him at that time is similar to how people were sort of feeling about Phil Foden maybe a couple of years ago. And considering the gap between those two moments, he was very, very good. He was being spoken about in terms of being the next Colin Bell, and this was after one season. He was different in the way that he played. He was very technical, and considering what we were at City at the time, he didn't really I think himself and Stephen Ireland, I think they could have had better careers at City if they came later on, because of the way that they were as players. But Michael Johnson was very, very good. You see these goals here, bursting from midfield and all this stuff. He was good. He loved the game, and it didn't necessarily go the way that he wanted it to. But upon speaking, with him, he's okay with it.
There.
That's me, pointing straight at him because that was a very, very nice goal. And I enjoy it. I loved being at the back and seeing my attackers do great stuff because it just made the game just so much easier. But yeah, that was a special year for him. It unfortunately ended up being the year when he played the most football in his career. But he's got an incredible story, and some of the stuff which he says, on my podcast, if anyone wants to go and listen, is like, it's very important for, say, the environment that we're in right now, because most people look at him and say, yeah, he must have a ton of regrets, but he doesn't, because he's finally at peace in terms of who he is, and that's ultimately like the biggest positive for me.
I listened to the full podcast this week. Brilliant interview. Loved hearing what he had to say. If anybody wants to listen to it, kick back with Nedum, available on all good podcast stores.
Yeah, that's right. We're out there. Yeah, we're as big as Joe Rogan. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
let's make it as big as Joe Rogan. Every City fan watching, go and get Kick Back with Nedum on your podcasts, wherever you get your podcast from.
Yes, please.
And listen to the wonderful interview with Michael Johnson. Now, somebody else that was in that team, as you mentioned, was Kasper Schmeichel. So from one goalkeeper to another, that was smooth. That David, wasn't it? That was smooth.
You're so good, Natalie.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. Kasper Schmeichel, still playing now. Back then, obviously, he was such a young player. Sven was a big fan of him, took him to Notts County and then Leicester. And he's still obviously at Leicester now. What do you make of him as a keeper?
Well, I think Nedum will hopefully agree with me. It was a coming into City, Kasper being there was this element of, it's someone's son. Wasn't particularly the biggest goalkeeper, but one thing he did have, even back then as a teenager, was this desire to be better. Having spoke to his dad many years later, not so many years ago, he said that Kasper used to watch YouTube videos of every goalkeeper, try and replicate certain aspects of that goalkeeping style to make his better. And when you look at him now, he is a product of so much learning. I mean, people talk about the elite players and how much effort they put into it. Well, he's a prime example of it. As you say, Sven was a big fan. As an ex-City player at the time, looking at Kasper, it was like, he wasn't that good when I was there when he started playing, but he did so well in that beginning, as Nedum says, that beginning half season, if you like. And what he's been doing for Leicester, leader, top performer. But like today, he's allowed a bad day every now and again.
Yeah, we'll take that today. Absolutely, Kasper. And you'll have known Kasper from, obviously, because you guys were playing at City at the same time.
Same academy team. He came in under 17s, and he was great. Like, I remember there were a couple of goalkeepers who we had at the time who were devastated because he came in because he instantly went to number one. But one of those was Wayne Hennessy, who's also had a great career Welsh international. But he was very good, and as David was saying there, like, he was very driven, always wanted to get better, and he would fully buy into that. But this is the best thing. So he didn't make it at City, but he's got a league title, an FA Cup, and he's a starter for his Danish national side. So it just goes to show, you know what I mean? You're not a failure if you don't make it here, because sometimes timing and stuff plays into it.
Can I just chuck in a little story?
Yes, please. We love your stories.
I interviewed him at Leicester a few years ago, and the guy was telling me that they had security cameras around the training facility. And he was going to the security guy to get the footage of his training sessions so he could look back at his training sessions. Yeah. That's the level of detail that he goes into.
Yeah. It's like, I love the guy, like Kasper Schmeichel, legend. But here's the thing for you, that season, this is what some people didn't realise. Under Sven, we actually had three really good goalkeepers. We had Kasper, Andreas Isaksson, who was a starter for Sweden at the time, and Joe Hart. So at the start of that season, he gave each of them 7 games each. And then at the end of that, he decided who his number one was going to be come the end of the season. Didn't know that, did you?
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I think from then, he picked Joe, and I think Kasper then left on loan somewhere. And then I think that's
interesting to say that, because I think Kasper's record was probably better than all of them.
Yeah.
Because I just remember clean sheet, and I was thinking, okay, he's going to do better than I did.
So, he played the first 7 games, at which point we were second in the league. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is the thing. But Nedum, there you go, viewers. You've got something
proper inside info here.
Well done.
Love that.
Better stat than yours now.
Oh, you know I like to be the queen of the stats.
Yes, listen, you say yours, I live mine, but that's fine.
Now, you, of course, also played under Sven when you were playing for England.
Yes.
What did you make of Sven as a manager?
His honesty. It's a weird one. I want to say, we did so well, but at times we didn't. And the one thing that Sven said to me, because I made my second debut, given there was a 3-year absence between my debut and my second appearance, but Sven was going to be announced after that. We played Italy and Pete Taylor was manager. Lost 1-0. But then the following game, Sven came in and I'd had a indifferent Premier League game, and he said, "I'm not going to play you. I'm playing Dave, but you will have time." And I thought that was, as much as I was technically being dropped, I was happy with the way that he said it. And later on in his tenureship, he had dropped me again, but in the same way, he'd done it the right way. And I just felt, okay, this guy is honest. If he likes me, he likes me. If he doesn't, then at least he's telling me rather than just dropping me and leaving me to dislike him. So I loved him as manager. I just wish he'd have played me against Brazil.
Played you in Soccer Aid, though.
Yes, he did. Clean sheet here at the Etihad. Yeah. Kind of made up for it, but then he played Joel Dommett in the second half. If you got a choice of what to do after the match today, listen to Nedum's podcast, not watch reruns of the second half of Soccer Aid.
The second half wasn't great. It was not
Kick
great.
Back with Nedum, available on all podcast
everywhere.
Places. So, of course, yes, you after David Stevens' retirement, you came back in, you played every game in Euro 2004, where we went out, or where we, I'm Scottish, gosh, slip of the tongue, England, oh my goodness, don't send that clip to Scotland, where England went out on penalties in the last 16. Oh, and it was the goalkeeper that scored the penalty.
Ricardo, yeah, and it was a Man City player that missed.
Who was it?
Darius.
Did he?
Yeah, one of them. Oh, there was a Man United player who missed as well, or a former. I can't remember if he was still at Man United. David Beckham missed the first penalty.
Was it?
Skied it, yeah. Blame the pitch. But anyway, yeah. I mean, it was a great run-in with Sven in those Euros, and unfortunately, again, England get undone by penalties. But
now you're an expert penalty saver. Do you know what your record that you hold?
I think it's 13. I think it's 13.
Most penalty saves in the Premier League history.
Yeah.
Okay. Decent.
That's decent, right?
At what sort of like save
rate?
I
think it was about 33-ish%.
And why do you think you were so good at that?
Because I came off the line early.
So you struggle in this generation.
Oh, now
the goals missed. Oh my God!
Let's have a look.
There was
right.
I saw
you standing 2 yards in front of the penalty taker.
I saw Dicko the other day. Yeah. So he was playing golf at Mottram Hall for Soccer Aid, and we had a good chat.
He's always playing golf. Golf or travelling, Dickie, these days.
Yeah,
that's true. It's very, very true. He looks nervous. He can't look you in the eye, can he? He's terrified.
Yeah, but you could. There was a certain time you could read body language.
Yeah, you're miles off the line there.
And why is he clearing the ball? I could have picked that up and we could have gone and scored down the other end.
Okay, right. So you were slightly off the line and you went to the right. I'm going to watch the next one now. Slightly. Yes. Okay.
I mean, the rules are slightly different then.
Right, here's the next one.
Against Gary McAllister, he never misses pens as well.
Again.
Yeah, that's a nice save, to be fair.
Well, it's not that I doze to the right every time.
Well, that's what you think. That's what you think
to the left, everyone.
Yeah, but you can
show us otherwise.
Okay. I mean, you could read body language. There's so many different things involved. I mean, people putting the ball on the spot was sometimes an indicator. But fortunately, 13. Do you know what? The only one team that I didn't save a penalty for was in India against Delano.
Really?
When Delano put it not to that same side, was it?
He did.
That's his spot.
Yeah, I was 43 years old and my legs didn't spring as far as they used to. So it was.
That's 3 saves to that right side, by the way. But who's keeping?
Well, the question is, how many did I let in for City?
So you saved 3 when you were at City. I don't know how many. I don't know out of how many.
Could have been 3 out of 3, Nathan. So
do you remember this one?
Oh,
what's going on there?
This is a bit of a strange one for you.
Okay, I'm waiting.
We're just looking
at
himself. Attention.
Oh yeah, I remember this one. Yeah. Oh no, I don't remember. That was the rerun because he tried to roll.
That was the first one. So that was the first penalty that he scored.
And I dived to the left.
And then later in the game, they got another one.
And I dived to the left, Nathan. If I'd have dived to the right, I'd have saved that.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Look at the focus.
Something weird's about to happen.
Something weird
something
is about to happen. We're just building the tension. Do you remember what happens next?
I remember what happened. This was crazy. And I think in the era of VAR, not only would my penalty saves not have counted, but this penalty would have been retaken.
Why is that?
Because I'm not sure if Perez actually touches the ball.
I don't think he does.
And then
confused by it.
Danny Mills comes along and tries to take out half the Arsenal defence. He's like me up front for City. There was a touch.
Oh, he does touch it.
Oh, it was Trevor Sinclair.
That's a proper glitchy moment in football, isn't it? Where nobody knows what you're supposed to do.
So he does touch it, so then surely it's just...
But I think, right, so if we're going to go into the technicalities of it, I'm not sure if the rules back then they had to do a full revolution.
Right.
So technically that would have been retaken. Any keen-eyed, eagle-eyed...
And you would have saved it, so it didn't matter anyway, did it?
It was going to the right, wasn't it?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So yes, excellent record there for you as well. So we're getting loads of links here, Sven, but then also you guys played together. Do you remember much of your time together? Because I mean, there was 29 times that you played together.
I'm sure we won 29 games, but yeah, sure. Tell me what the last one was.
29 times together.
It wasn't Portsmouth away, was it?
No, I don't.
We would have won that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. Put the two bits together. It's unbeatable.
Well, you were 17 at the time. 17 when you were playing in the same team together. Mm-hmm. You made your debut at 17.
That's right, yeah.
Checking this. First Premier League, Norwich, when you played together. Yeah, and the last time you played together, can you remember which game that was?
It's probably a small game.
I don't know. If Maiden was 17 and I would have been 34 or 30. I'd have been double your age.
No, this the last game. I must have been like 19, 20 something. Yeah. So go on. What was it? What game was it?
So this is the last game. It is a derby victory. So it was when United came here and we beat them 3-1. There's Trevor Sinclair knocking that one in.
I remember what he did to Patrice Evra that day. It wasn't nice. It wasn't nice to see. It was Evra's first game in England, and he got taken off at half time because Trevor was literally all over him.
Do you remember that game, or is it just another game?
Is this nearly an assist? It's nearly an assist. Well, there's a few people involved. This would be because my confusion with the derby. We beat United 4-1 as well.
Yeah.
That was my first derby.
Right.
And this was another
derby victory.
Yeah. So how many derbies will I have played? 3, because we lost 2-0 with Wayne Rooney scoring one, but technically scoring 2. But I think Richard Dunn was involved in both of them. But the wow. Yeah. So I get this result confused with the first one.
Because you've got so many. You know what I mean? It's success,
you have a better record against them than they have against you. So
the king's in the building.
Mm-hmm.
The king is in the building.
I love this game.
There you go. Now there was something else that happened in this game that might help you remember it. And certain guys back this weekend. Anyone else sick of hearing about it? Well, this also happened in this game. So Stephen Jordan, great tackle. Oh. He's getting fuming. You can see the fume building, and then they're losing at this point. And that's Andrew Cole and.
Oh, that is... Wow.
Oh, it's horrid. Do you remember that happening?
Yeah, I do remember there was a red card, yeah. Because, like you say, we played in that game together, but I actually came on off the
Yes, you came on, yes.
And I came on for Donny, who never leaves the field. And I came on with a lead in the Manchester derby for my first Manchester derby. Like, that role as a defender is like, come on, we can do this. We can do this. And then they scored to make it 2-1. I was like, oh, God, this isn't going well. But then Robbie Fowler scoring at the end was like one of the biggest reliefs I ever felt in my career.
Oh, I can't imagine how much pressure did you feel?
Because I was like, I'm a City fan or whatever, but this was me young, like I'm all in City fan playing for City. Yeah. And like we're winning a derby game and now they've just scored and like I'm thinking, oh my God, this is going to be a nightmare. But then, it ended up being a great day.
Were your family in the crowd, or did you not expect to play?
My family were always in the crowd. They're always in the crowd. Anytime I was in the squad, they were always there. So it was just a crazy moment. Like I'm a Manchester boy, and that's my first time beating Manchester United. Like I felt like a king after that. It was incredible.
I remember my first game going to a Manchester derby as a fan, and we got a draw, and I remember crying my eyes out because I just thought it was absolutely incredible that we got a draw.
That's what we used to be, yeah.
Now, a big thank you to everybody that has been sending their questions in via WhatsApp. The number does go around on the screen every now and again, so if you see it, sending your questions, please send your questions in, and we're going to ask at half time to both the gents. There's already loads coming through, but send them in, and we're going to pick out some questions that we will read out at half time. Now, a little reminder of our Cryptic City game that our new wonderful game. So which City player is this? Could be present, could be past. You have to that's the tester one, just in case you haven't seen it yet. So that is Kel, our presenter, Kelichi, in ear, in ears, fingers in ears, Nacho. Kelechi Iheanacho. I'm not saying it now. But this is the one we want you guessing. So we want you tweeting us using hashtag Man City. What is it? Who is that? Who is it? Who is it? Any idea? Any ideas? I mean, that's Homer Simpson. But Now that is a very famous British comedian. The second one, an emoji of somebody looking a bit poorly. So, tough one. So send that in. We'll tell you at half-time what the answer is. Hashtag Man City. Now, there's the City team. Oh, I love that jacket so much. Oh, our stuff this year is delicious, by the way. I love our kits this year. That. It's nice, right? You want it?
Wow.
David says he's not coming back on this show until he's got that jacket. Right, now, Nedum, you had the incredible prediction earlier of the Palace Spurs score, so I'm going to throw to you. What are you expecting today?
Oh, my goodness. I'm going to say 2-1 City.
2-1 City, that's what I said before the game. What are you thinking, David?
Well, I'm going for a City win. I hope it's really tight, and then we have to have Mahrez on, who scores a hat-trick, because he's in my fantasy team.
Hat-trick against his old club. I'm sure that'll go down well.
Yeah.
That'll go down great, yeah.
Pep's pre-match talk is my indicator for a success for City. I'm not going to do scorelines because who knows, but any win's good enough.
City win.
Yeah. Manchester City
win. We are going to have a bit of a talk about fantasy football at half-time because we have a Manchester City league. So if you are playing the official FPL, you can join our Manchester City league. I am currently sitting in, I wrote it down because the number was so big, 359,976. Oh my goodness. But I want to give a shout out to the top 2 players. Igor, yes, Igor, I was your biggest fan. Igor, we've fallen out though and you don't even realise it. I was your biggest fan, Igor, because you had no United players in your team and I don't have United players in my team, but you put one in this week because I had a look. So Igor's currently joint top of our league, but we'll have a good fantasy chat later. Now I have Gundogan and Diaz in my team who are both starting today and we can see them walking out onto the pitch there. So thank you so much for joining us on Matchday Live. We'll be back at half-time with David and Nedum who'll be joining me for a bit of half-time analysis. We'll also be answering your questions and we'll be doing our Cryptic City. If you aren't watching the game live, you can get the best commentary on the Manchester City app from our wonderful Man City fan commentator, Alistair Mann. And we'll be back here for you at half-time.